Kathy, and I'm back with a video for the 'Tis the Season YouTube hop that Audrey Yeager does, and I am super excited to get to do this again and to be part of a whole, I think it's 12 days of amazing Scrappy YouTubers. So I will have a link in my description below because she does a video every day and then she links to whoever's it is. And then you can keep following her so you can get to the next person the next day and the next person the next day. And there is a fantastic line up of YouTubers. So this is really cool. So you can, I'm genuinely excited. So what I'm doing is I'm working with some 7 paper, which is kind of a thing that Studio Calico was doing for a while, but I don't know if they do it anymore, if they discontinued that kind of line. But it was just different lines of paper and embellishments that, I don't know, they just kind of seemed a little different than their usual kind of stuff. So you could buy it from them or you could buy it from other shops. And I bought a few Christmas pieces, and one was the deer that you see there, and I didn't want to use that whole back. I didn't want to waste all my deer, so I cut out the little backwards L so that I would still have some left over. And then I'm going to put white cardstock on top of that, and I'm creating a border using the deer. But I just did it in a little bit of a backwards way to save my paper. And I backed everything on a piece of cardstock that I wouldn't normally use. For some reason, I have like this thing where I just cannot use cream cardstock. I can use cream embellishments and off-white and ivory and everything. And I apologize, guys, if I do cough or anything. I recently had an issue with my throat, and it made it really hard to speak or swallow or anything. So just kind of getting over that now. This whole layout was inspired by actually 3 different things. One was last year's failed attempt at a December daily, which had that picture in it. Well, it wasn't going to be a December daily. It was going to be a December mini album, because I always forget to take like a photo or remember to do something a day, whether it's recording like a memory or anything. Anyway, so I was going to do like a mini album, and I never ended up doing it, but I did print out this large photo. And so when I took some of my stuff apart, I did not want to throw out the photo. I mean, I spent money on it because I had to use 8.5 by 11 photo paper to print it, and that stuff's expensive, especially when you're buying like the high quality photo paper. And I like the crispness of the photo, so I have to spend that little extra. Anyway, so that's why I don't often print big photos, in case people are wondering why I don't print off like a ton of big photos at once. Like if I have multiple photos on a page, they're usually 4x6 or smaller, and that's because it's just cheaper to buy 4x6 printer paper. Anyway, so it was inspired by the photo because I did not want to just throw it out, and it was a lovely photo, even though it was printed large. And it was inspired by the black and white paper that's photorealistic of the tree with the snow, which is also a 7 paper one. And I know it's kind of off and on if people like photorealistic papers or not. And I think in the right setting with the right type of paper, they're perfect. And then sometimes they're not. Like there's certain ones that I just don't think I could work with. But in this case, because it's black and white and it's quite lovely, and the little lights that peek out of it, I just really liked it. And it is meant to coordinate with that other paper because they're from the same collection. So And that's the back side of it. It's like a grid with some red stripes on it. So I kind of just decided to pop that in too, just for fun. You're only going to see it peeking out. Really trying to get in the red. So the red ribbon, it's a not wired ribbon, because in the case of doing something like this, tying a ribbon around a photo, you would not want to use a wired ribbon. And it did take a little bit, like when I had to make the knot, because I just did a regular bow. You could make your own bow separately and stick it down. That's another way to do it too. As opposed to making the double knot that I did, because that does add dimension quite a bit. Now, of course, because it's not like a pointy dimension, it's not like a resin flower or something, I'm not as worried about the dimension that it's going to leave in the photo album. Plus, I've got that large wood laser cut, and that was from like the cheap bin at Michael's when they have their Christmas stuff and they have different decorating. I have a few of them. I have that one that says Mary, I have one that says Home, and one that says Joy, and then some birds. So I'm trying to use them because I've had them for a while in my Christmas stash, and I've just been sitting with them. And I noticed when taking them out that the Mary was like the exact size of the photo, and it worked perfectly to rest it up like this. And then I realized that what that meant for my photo was my layout was going to be modern, very structured, and that's not me. That's not how I typically scrap. I don't scrap clean and simple and modern and structured designs. I love them. It very much makes me when I think about it, I think of Ali Edwards a lot. She does a lot of that kind of scrapbooking, and it's very clean and simple, crisp and structured and minimalistic, and it's beautiful. And yet that's just not something I feel I can accomplish. So I'm trying to accomplish it this time. Just because, yeah, it ended up being very structured. It's very vertical of a design. You know, there's not a lot of, like, I did pop up the photo with foam, but it's not backed with anything. Most of the reason to kind of deviate from such a structured layout was by adding the ribbon. I thought that would be a great way to do it. And I am going to add some embellishments. I'm not going to go completely overboard with the embellishments because this photo and this layout does not require it. It's a very busy, like the background of the photo has our Christmas tree with a bunch of homemade Christmas decorations on it and stuff like that. So there's lots of colors, lots of stuff going on. There is that space up at the top right-hand corner of the photo where you could put an embellishment. I am going to have to cough here in just a second. I have to clear my throat. Anyway, so I do want to put something kind of there, but I don't want it to necessarily be going all the way to the top, because then I feel it's kind of, it's I don't know, there's just something that doesn't look quite right if it goes all the way to the top, but I don't like it going too far down the photo either. I don't end up using that "'Tis the Season to be Jolly" with the deer silhouette on it. I don't find that it works. The stuff that I'm dragging in right now is primarily a My Mind's Eye ephemera pack, and that is from at least a year or two ago. And the Deck the Halls and the Christmas Spirit are from this year, Pebbles Christmas die cut ephemera pack, and it's very cute. Like, it's really cute, and I love the sayings, and I love that they used the black, and they still kind of went with like a charcoal feeling, or like a chalkboard feeling, and you know, it's not as popular, but it still helps when you're doing a photo like this. I loved bringing in the plaids, and they just kind of went so well. There's very little green in the photo, so I mean, I made sure to keep in some of the green on the background paper, and it took me a really long time to figure out how I wanted to lay out my ephemera. And there was a bit of a part in here where I had to cut it out. You saw me bring out a paper punch, except I didn't bring out that paper punch. My daughter did. She was playing with some of my papers that I have away that I don't think I'll ever use. And she came in and she was doing crafts and she was asking me how to use that paper punch. So I was showing her how it worked. So I had to kind of cut that out. Anyway, I was actually filming this while all 3 kids were home and stuff. I'm surprised I even got it done, to tell you the truth. In order for those stockings to sit up, they had to be propped up on the fun foam, and I had to buy the fun foam with the sticky back because there wasn't any of the other kind, and I'm kind of glad I did. It's great. I usually just buy the non-sticky one, but everything's popped up on a little bit because it needed that for the dimension to go over the photo, and the little label needed it and it as well. But yeah, like that's the almost the extent of my embellishing. The stockings also came from the My Mind's Eye chipboard that I had bought. I had bought the chipboard and the ephemera and like maybe 1 or 2 pieces of the paper, and that was it, because I have so much Christmas stuff that it's more the ephemera and decorations and stuff that I need to have. The poinsettia is also from My Mind's Eye, and then I'm going to bring in around that area a few little holly branches, like holly leaves that are also from that chipboard, and they're just really tiny, but I'm just kind of adding them at the top to fill in some of the area. At the very end, I fiddle around with well, first I take some wood veneer stars, and these are the Studio Calico wood veneer stars that are always extremely hard to find. I saw a pack of them available one time on the paper issue store, and so I bought them just because they're hard to find, these packs of wood veneers, and I love the stars. So I'm actually going to put some of them on the photo, and that's just going to bring in a bit more of that rustic feel. I think I only put like 1 or 2 on the photo, and then the rest, the reason I tucked that one in behind the ribbon was because it was broke, but I didn't want to waste it, so I tucked it in. So I really like how this little embellishment cluster turned out with the wood veneer stars. And then if you remember our previous layout, I had these glittery green trees, and they're very similar to that green from the deer paper. And so I thought, why not bring in some green, because there really isn't that much green going on in this layout. So there they are. I am going to mess around quite a bit with where I want to put them because I don't want them to stand out too much. I want them to kind of fit in with the embellishment clusters and not stand out a ton. And they don't look right just sitting around the Mary area. So I do kind of have to, you know, hum and haw over where I want to put them. But they and Heidi Swap Color Shine in black are the final touches. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you check out the rest of the YouTube hop. Pictures are coming up, and don't forget to check out Audrey's video and in the link in the description below. So have an awesome day. Bye.